next, it's my pleasure to welcome Dennis DeBow, a partner solution architect who provides guidance and enablement on modernizing data lake strategies using Databricks on AWS. With significant industry experience in data engineering and data warehousing, Dennis has previously worked at Greenplum, Hortonworks, IBM, and at scale. Dennis will share how the Databricks Data Lakehouse will meet your needs for every data and analytics workload. So welcome, Dennis, to the stage. All right, how are you doing today, Dennis?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Alex. Thanks for the introduction. Appreciate it.
Great. Yeah, thanks for presenting our summit. I'm gonna look forward to talking to you afterwards. We'll do the Q&A after that, but looking forward to it. I'm gonna drop from the screen and give you the stage.
All right, thank you very much. All right, well, hi everyone, and thank you for joining this session. So as Alex said, my name is Dennis DeBow. I'm a lead SA here at Databricks, working exclusively with ISV partners. So in today's session, I'll cover the Databricks Lakehouse and how the Databricks Lakehouse Platform is the only platform in the industry that unifies analytics, data, engineering, machine learning, and streaming workload across clouds on one simple and open data platform. So a lot of content, but before we get started, I will just kind of share this product safe harbor statement here, which basically say that the information provided is for information only, although most of the features that I'm going to discuss today are generally available or will soon be generally available. So on that, let's get started. A little bit about Databricks. So we're proud to be the inventors and pioneering the data lakehouse. We are 5,000 plus employees across the globe and fast growing. With over $1 billion in revenue across more than 9,000 customers, from Fortune 500 to unicorn customers. And Databricks has been recognized by Gartner as a leader in both the data management system and data science and machine learning platinum. So pretty difficult to be in both of those quadrants. So we're pretty excited about that. So we're also the original creator of the Apache Spark, which is part of the Apache Software Foundation, while Delta Lake and MLflow are the other two open source projects that we manage, and we've also newly launched Delta Sharing Project, and they're all part of the Linux Foundation. And these open source projects have been built by more than 2,000 contributors over 300 companies, and those contributors are growing by the day. Combined, these projects are downloaded on a monthly basis over about 30 million times per month. So just to give you a little bit of a perspective, Apache Spark is downloaded on average 45 million times a month, and Delta Lake about 7 million-ish, and then MLflow about 10 million downloads per month. So those are quite a numbers of downloads for some pretty successful open source projects. Now, actually, I'm going to let your eyes do the reading on this logo slide. But while you do that, I'm going to just share a few stats here, stats of customers by industry. So more than 50% of Fortune 500 uses Databricks today. And so from a vertical industry perspective, Databricks has over 500 customers in the retail and the consumer good industry, and including 7 of the top largest retailers globally. And then just about financial industry is a large vertical for us as well, over 600 customers across banking, insurance, capital markets, and fintech. And the tendency continues where 8 out of 10, the largest media company globally are using Databricks, our Databricks customers as well. And we do have a strong presence as well in healthcare and life sciences, and pharmaceutical companies as well. big representation in the public sector, largest state, local, and federal entities in the United States, and over 200 large customers in the manufacturing, spanning industrial, automotive, aerospace, and logistics, and high tech. So quite a variety of customer logos, and you can see, you can pick your favorite. Obviously, this is a subset. You can actually go to our main page at databricks.com, and you can see all of the different customers out there. So there's a good chance that if you're at a customer site that they're most likely using Databricks. All right, so if you remember, if there's something to be remembered about my session today here, is really just to remember this slide, which we have our Data and AI Summit here coming up in June. It's our largest conference of the year. So we do have also an ability for you guys to join virtually as well. So there's sessions virtually from the 28th and the 29th. We have a great list of featured speakers and super cool agenda. Actually, the agenda is live right now, so go check it out. If you can join us in person, that's even better. And we do provide half and full day in-person hands-on training sessions on the 26th and the 27th. So if you join us for the conference itself, you'll have access to some training sessions, and there's also Databricks certifications that are offered throughout the week as well. And reach out to us. There's discounts on training as well that are available. So looking forward to see a bunch of you guys over at the conference. So before we dive deep into tech, I'd like to share a couple of quotes from the industry, our industry trusted advisors, basically Gartner and Forrester. But in essence, those quotes are can be summarized by data being an increasingly important differentiator for all the companies today. It's in a very competitive market, as we know. When you harness the data and apply intelligence to it, it enables better decision to create enterprise and elevate your enterprise value. But it is a very, very evolving business environment that we're in. So real-time decision making, is critical, and therefore comes the Databricks Lakehouse here, and we'll dive into that. So what is a Lakehouse platform, essentially? Well, if you try to bring or build a Lakehouse platform on any of the cloud providers today, you'll most likely have your unstructured data in a data lake somewhere, could potentially even have multiple data lakes. And then you'll have, one or many data warehouses. We know most of our large customers have, more than one data warehouse. Then you'll have an orchestration platform because you need to handle all your ETL and ELT workloads. And most likely you'll have at least, if not a dozen, SQL-based BI stack and to do your reporting. And then, you'll try to report off the warehouse as well as off your data lake sometime. And of course, you'll have a separate stack for your data science and ML that also needs to hit both the warehouse and the lake, and likely yet another platform to deal with your streaming workloads. Finally, all of these platforms needs to be secured, and they need to be governed, which is likely being handled again by a multiple type set of solutions. Now, in the end, you're dealing with a huge amount of data movement and copying that data, and which drives your operational costs. You have most likely a slew of governance models that makes it hard to know where to connect and who has access to the data. And then finally, your data practitioners can't work really efficiently together because they get slowed down by a lot of high friction handoff. Now, just take an example of, let's say, on AWS. So you'll have most likely your lake on S3, and you can have multiple different ones there. You'll have most likely a Redshift platform. You'll have some orchestration, to basically schedule all your jobs. And there's many choices and partner choices as well to do this. You'll have maybe a QuickSight or a Tableau or any other, Looker, numbers of business intelligence tool. And then you'll have a SageMaker, which is made of like 20 microservices on its own. And then you have Kinesis with all the different choices for streaming. And then you get into governance with, DataZone and Lake Formation. And so you still have to piecemeal all these things together to really make it a lake house. So the lakehouse really, as opposed to having all these disparate services, the lakehouse really offers a better approach, and it starts by landing all your data in the cloud data lake, as we all know. Now, instead of silos, a unified data management layer allows all the analytics to basically operate on all the use cases and perform directly against a single copy of the data. That's the difference between the lakehouse than all these different systems. And it should eliminate, and it will eliminate, redundant storage and costs and complexity as well. Then your data is governed and secured with a single approach. The right team get access to the right data. You're able to understand who's acquiring the data, who's changing the data, how it's being utilized, and ultimately the data is dramatically simplified, and people have a easier way to understand which data set they need to get to. And ultimately, your data workloads are being able to operate on the same data with the same security and the same governance policy. So again, unifying all that stack, that modern stack, together in a single lakehouse platform. Sounds great, right? So, well, Databricks is the only company that brings all these elements together in one unified platform. So the platform is available on all the major clouds, on AWS, on Azure, and on GCP. And it provides a common experience wherever your data is and where your data applications reside, really. Delta Lake provides the best and most proven price performance lakehouse foundation. It's 100% open to ensure that your data is always in your control. So openness is guaranteed using Delta Lake. The Unity Catalog is a purposely built governance product for the lakehouse, which simplifies security and governance across both structured and unstructured data, as well as your data products. And then we'll tap into this here shortly. And finally, Databricks, offers a multi-persona experience that allows every practitioner to work on the same data with the same tools of choice, and as well, applying that same governance in a single file system. All right, so let me unpeel basically the onion here. And it starts at the foundation, and we solve the problem of creating an open source storage format, which we've built on top of Parquet. So Delta Lake is really open, really just basically sits right on top of Parquet. However, we've added some functionality like ASK transactions, so schema enforcement, a variety of other performance improvement like indexing, perhaps, that you're familiar with if you come from a warehousing platform, which is not really available on data lakes. And today, Delta Lake is the most comprehensive lakehouse file format used by over 7,000 organizations. And we're processing exabyte of data per day using Delta Lake. And by the way, we announced the open sourcing of Delta Lake 2.0 last June. So go check it out. Delta.io has all the information about the open source project around Delta Lake. And as well, a lot of information about the Linux Foundation. All right, so we've seen incredible success and adoption of Delta Lake, but we really didn't stop there, and we've built Photon, which is the only Spark compatible and state-of-the-art vectorized engine for blazing fast queries. So in addition to Delta, which was already very fast, you add now Photon, which is Spark compatible, and we've seen, basically reduction in processing time as far or as much as 25%, comparing to a regular Spark engine. So very powerful and scalable open source table format, plus a blazing fast engine at the very foundation of the Lakehouse. All right, so next layer, as we add to the foundation, we need to talk about governance, which is very complex in the data analytics and AI space. And some of the good reasons for this complexity is, well, you have different types of personas. You have your data scientists or your data analysts and data engineers with different responsibility, while they're all working with data that's located in different disparate systems. Data files that resides in your data lake, tables and column in your warehouse, and they both have different governance models. And let alone the fact that you have a bigger problem now, because it's much more difficult to now start managing your ML model, for instance, or your dashboard, or some of the model features. So Unity Catalog centrally governs all your data, and meaning that you can secure and audit and discover all of your data while understanding essentially the governance picture, including and not limited to including the streaming capability, which is more and more folks are moving from a batch-oriented processing to a streaming process. So not just tables and columns, but also capturing all the lineage that's necessary to run an enterprise business these days. All right, so file system, engine, governance tool, a catalog that provides you the governance across all your data assets. And we also now have a simplified the orchestration of all the workloads on the Lakehouse. So how does that sound? Well, orchestrating and managing end-to-end production pipelines still is a huge bottleneck in many organizations. So data teams spend way too much time stitching pipelines and tasks and manually managing and monitoring orchestration processes. So there's a really huge, we see a huge reliance on external or cloud-specific orchestration solution, but all of which really slows down the delivery of your pipeline, your workloads, and basically your insights to your stakeholders. The Data Lakehouse platform offers a highly reliable and fully managed orchestration service for all of your data, all your analytics processes, including streaming and AI, built on the platform. Super easy to create these workflows with a very intuitive UI. And of course, you can create workflows via APIs and a CLI, and supporting all your CI/CD tools. And it also allows you to orchestrate workloads with partner solutions. So as you have defined these workloads, you can tap in, and it's not just limited to notebooks and components that are built within the Databricks platform, but it integrates as well via via the REST APIs that we support, all of our partner supported processes as well. So our Databricks workflow is really battle tested, and it launches today millions of machines per day across Azure, AWS, and GCP running production critical workloads. So it is a really highly operational workflow orchestration capability that's very simple to manage. So now that we've unlayered or unpeeled the onion, so the Databricks Lakehouse is really built on open source and open standards. So if there's something to remember as well, there is like we're fully open source, all open standards, which means that you can also integrate with numbers of different tools that you might have today, and some of them are there. Like in this case, Ascend.io is fully integrated with Databricks, and whether it's a tool that you have today or a tool that you may consider adopting tomorrow, because we're on open standards, it's going to be really easy to integrate these partner solutions and use the best of breed or the tool of your choice that you've already adopted in your enterprise. Now, adding to this ecosystem of partners that we have, this rich ecosystem of integration, we also have added a Delta sharing protocol, which allows you to easily share data and assets externally and internally without vendor dependency. So as you produce some output and you create some of your data, that data can be easily shared with a Delta sharing protocol. And as well, you can also now start working on that data to even facilitate a data clean room for highly secured joint analytics that you may want to join with your customers or other partners. And please join us at the Data and AI Summit here coming up in June. There's going to be a lot to be told about clean rooms and marketplace and as well on Delta sharing as well. So very excited about that. So to complete the lakehouse, note that we have the file system, we have the engine, we have the workload orchestration, we can tackle along with the governance, and we can tackle all these different personas. Here comes Partner Connect, which is that we've dedicated this layer for it's a portal that basically allows us to discover and partners and literally in minutes. So if you want to integrate a partner solution with Databricks, through Partner Connect, it means that that partner has been vetted. We've gone and removed the complexity of the sign-in process. We allow you to connect that partner solution directly to Databricks, and if you go to the chases, that process is simplified 10x the step of connecting various different partner tools to operate and be used with Databricks. So the other thing that Partner Connect provides you, it also identifies that it's basically a trusted advisor, and it's a trusted integration that has been vetted directly by the Databricks staff along with the partner solution. So to complete the picture, in summary, the Lakehouse platform addresses all you need of the enterprise. It's open, it's on a reliable foundation, it provides centralized governance, and it's easy to use, and it really has a really large industry ecosystem across all the different, and it operates across all the different cloud providers. You can easily accomplish all your needs, from data engineering to streaming to ML and AI. But what I'd like to do for the remaining part of the session is really to focus on our data warehousing offering, which we call DB SQL. That's highlighted on the top left corner, the lighter green aspect. And our DB SQL capability is really a modern serverless data warehouse that runs on our platform, and it lets you run all of your SQL workloads and BI application at scale. And there's been a fair amount of benchmarks that have hit the marketplace these days. And then we can easily demonstrate that we can run at a rate than 10 to 12x better from a price performance. And it's not locked in, so you don't have to copy your data from an existing format to another format. So we can just basically operate within this warehouse system with your current data set without paying a tax of copying that data again or provide it into a specific format. So what are some of the capabilities of our warehouse? So we want to make sure that we're provided a very great full-featured SQL editing capability, that the first-class SQL development experience that most folks are accustomed to if you're working in a warehouse, where you can it's easy to write queries, it's familiar syntax, it's ANSI SQL supported, it's easy to explore schemas, you have a data explorer capability, you can use regular SQL code, you can save snippets, you can reuse those snippets, you can query and cache the results, you can build easy easily queries in dashboards and all the widgets that you would. So I think that you could actually do this very quickly, right? All right, so okay, so let's see here. I think I'm just running a little bit, slow here. So let me accelerate a little bit here. So, all right. So SQL editor is very important. Obviously, this is one of these new features I talked about early on. So we also provide data modeling constraints. So capabilities, that's all fully integrated with Unity Catalog. So you can specify primary, key, foreign keys. I mean, try to do this today in a data lake environment. It's impossible, right? So, I mean, with the combination of the Delta Lake format, we now are able to then provide you some of these features, capabilities where you can define constraints, and your tool now, your BI tools can take advantage and leverage that metadata to improve your query planning to run your SQL generation and push down. So, I mean, that's a must for warehousing, right? So if you're gonna have a warehouse, you might as well do that. So most customer also requires, federation. If we came across the numbers of our customers that are adopting our Databricks SQL warehouse feature or capability, and many of them are saying, well, look, I've got data everywhere. I need a federation capability. The challenge with that is many of those Databricks will need to coexist with either a third party, or you kind of have to do your own and using an open source component. And the fact that we provide this out of the box on our SQL warehouse, this is very powerful, and many of our customers are enjoying this. Now, materialized views is also a common construct that you see in data warehousing. And so therefore we are now supporting this as part of the Lakehouse. So it's incorporated, it's the same benefit that you would expect from other platforms. So you can, obviously address performance characteristics with this. So it's a pretty, it's a pretty nice feature to tackle some of these really challenging solutions. And you can also integrate this with Delta sharing as well. And, again, come to Data and AI Summit to find out a little bit more about that. We're also in private preview. We also support Python UDF. So imagine in SQL, which is one of the biggest advantages that we have compared to a lot of these other solutions, you can now run Python and express all the Python requirements that you have in a SQL context. So very powerful. It's very secured, and it's fully integrated with the Unity catalog as well. So it's a first class object within the catalog, and again, it allows you to get all that centralized governance around your UDFs as well. Okay, so now obviously having a SQL warehouse, you also need to have an admin experience. So we offer and monitor, we are able to monitor workload, and we can manage that workload as well through a single pane of glass. And again, a feature that you would expect to have if you're running some SQL workload. So all of this is fully incorporated. It provides you in-depth breakdown of and understand the performance characteristics of any of the queries and the workflows you're running through the single pane of glass. So now what we've done as well is we also have an ability in a serverless world to provide you an adaptive query optimization. So we can actually make sure that we service your really, really small queries and your really large queries. And so we can manage this by optimizing the query, understanding where the allocation of resources are most needed. And it's easy to mix and match small and very large queries, and we can actually do the load balancing ourselves on the back end. So very powerful feature. So I want to also just touch a little bit on some of the openness and flexibility. Today we do integrate with, a lot of our partners are integrating with Databricks via a set of REST APIs, JDBC connection or set of libraries, but we also have a bunch of app integrations as well with Go. with Python libraries as well. We can integrate with either front-end tools, ingest tools, or transformation tools. And again, Ascend.io is here as well, prominently displayed on this capability. And we've seen a significant amount of cost reduction. And Alexin is one example here, where with the integration of this really rich ecosystem, they were able to do some pretty significant cost reduction. Okay, so let's touch a little bit on, switch gear a little bit, and let's talk about Delta Share, Delta Sharing Protocol. It's basically a protocol that allows you to share not only data, but all of these assets that you have, whether it's notebooks, model, dashboards, you name it. I mean, you can also share those externally and internally without any vendor dependency. It's an open protocol. And again, there's a lot of information. There's the link here at the bottom of the slide. Feel free to go and find out more about Delta Sharing, but it's a pretty slick feature that we have. It's also natively integrated with Unity Catalog, which allows you to manage and audit these objects that you share across different organizations. Right. I want to kind of get to the bottom here. We're almost at time, and but I want to basically share with you that we do have a rich really rich set of partners. And if you look at the modern data stack, I mean, that kind of gives you another picture here in terms of more of an architectural pattern where you can see medallion process. I'm not sure, if you follow the curation process and you follow a standard, medallion curation process, you can use a series of partner tools and partner integration that we've developed along with our partners to really give you this modern stack and feel. So I'm actually going to skip this one, and I'm going to leave you with just one of two slides real quick. And there we go. So sorry, I'm going to give you this one here, which there's a couple of good ebooks that you can download. The links are in here. I talked about a little bit more about the warehouse as well. And also want to leave you with, you can try Databricks today if you haven't tried it yet. There's a 14-day free trial. Feel free. It's super easy. Databricks.com/try Databricks. You fill in your email address with your name and use a company email address, and no credit cards required. And we'll give you an environment up and running, valid for 14 days. All right. And on that, I want to thank you. And I'm almost to time, and I will leave this for Q&A now.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. That was a great presentation. A lot of great information about Databricks and the platform capabilities. Reminder to people, they can post questions if you'd like to have Dennis answer those on the right side of your screen. One of the things I wanted to kind of just touch on one thing, Dennis, while we're seeing if anyone has any questions. The first question is, who's your favorite partner? No, I'm just kidding.
Ascend.io. How's that?
No.
I'm still waiting for my swag, by the way. So,
right.
Still my favorite partner.
Awesome. We noticed you had Ascend listed on the slides, but maybe just talk a little bit about the Ascend Databricks and how customers are kind of leveraging both those platforms that you've seen, and where you kind of see where Ascend can further enhance what Databricks has as an offering.
Absolutely. So again, the reason why this partnership is so beneficial is, again, Databricks as a platform provides the best engine in the cloud, along with the best file format, as I talked about, with all the rich features that we provide. So by connecting Ascend and Databricks, you're basically taking advantage of the compute capability that we have, which is serverless or classic, with auto scaling capability. So now you take Ascend to do your curation process, and you can push that workload over to Databricks, which we have a very efficient engine to apply the transformation. Now, not only that, now once you've created that transition, so now you have an easy path to the next functionality of that data might be then used for ML capabilities or AI capabilities, producing dashboard content even. So it's a really integrated platform where now you then get, provide this data, and I'm referring to the medallion architecture process on the later slide. As you use Ascend to kind of curate that data then becomes available for that next feature that needs to get developed, either consuming via dashboard or goes to ML, but with staying in the boundaries of the platform. It's very simple to do.
Great. Okay. I have one other question, and then we'll wrap it up here. I think we're almost out of time. So for new customers, right? What do you see as kind of maybe your recommendations for small and medium-sized companies that might be much different than Fortune 500 companies? Like, what would you see as the difference, and maybe comparing them? Like, what challenges do they come to you with that you're able to resolve, and maybe what the differences between those two would be helpful for the audience?
Yeah, so I mean, we do have a numbers of very small customers, unicorn, customers that uses Databricks for the breadth and the depth of the product that we have. I mean, you might not need to use all of the features that we have and all the different personas, but typically you start small, and you might be the next Uber or the next Lyft, or the next really large CME space. So using Databricks provide you, again, a very tested file format, very performant platform, reusability natively. You don't have to copy your data, you don't have to replicate your data. It really simplifies the day-to-day data engineering task. If you're a small company, you probably don't have a lot of resources, so having a platform that allows you to grow and simplify your workload characteristics is really important, right? So and then you can tap in and extract and connect this to a set of really large, rich set of partner integrations that we have, Ascend.io being one of them.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think we're just about out of time. So huge thanks, Dennis, for joining us today.